My friend, how are you doing right now? If you are like me or the millions and millions of people I see out on social media, you might be feeling pretty shook up, pretty dysregulated, pretty, I don't know, scared, angry, nervous, worried, maybe some hope in there as well. Anyways, I know that there's a lot going on in the world and it is not easy right now. And while I do think that at some point it will get better, it's going to be quite a while. And for us, that means we need to find a way to support ourselves and our nervous system so that we can feel a bit more regulated and able to function in the world that we currently live in. So I'm hosting a free class this weekend. It's on Saturday, January 31st at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The class is called Herbal Support for Nervous System Resilience, Staying Regulated When the World is on Fire. And you guessed it, we are definitely going to talk about different herbs we can turn to, but we're also going to talk about some simple tricks and tools that are completely free that we can do in the moment. So anyways, class is free. It's going to be online. I'm going to drop a link in this little show note for you to get registered if that calls to you. And yeah, of course, I will send out a replay to those that get registered. Really, I just want to do what I can to help support you and others in this world as we navigate these challenging times. So know that I am sending you a great big giant hug, and I really hope to connect with you on Saturday in the class. Take care. Welcome to the Herbalist Path. If you love learning about the power of plant medicine and how to use it in your life, this show is for you. I'm Mel Mutterspa, clinical herbalist, herbal educator, and your host. In each episode, you're going to hear me sharing herbal insights and knowledge from my 25 plus years of working with and learning from the plants. Plus, I'm going to share interviews with some of the most amazing herbalists, educators, farmers, and healers out there, all bringing their herbal wisdom here for you. Really, this show's all about continuing this movement to put an herbalist in every home and a healer in every community. Again, thank you so much for listening, and welcome to the Herbalist Path. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to another episode on the Herbalist Path. We are in the midst of so much change in this world and change here on the Herbalist Path as I'm bringing Brittany Williams into this whole big picture, kind of making it more of a collaborative effort on this herbal education journey, because we know that the more herbalists you have around to learn from, the better off you are going to be in your herbal journey. Like, what a gift to learn from so many different heritages, so many different ways of practicing herbalism, and so on and so forth. So moving forward on this Herbalist Path podcast, you will be blessed with this amazing voice and smile of Brittany Williams from Eudaimonia Herbs. Some of the episodes she'll be here with me. Sometimes I'm going to be interviewing somebody else, and sometimes it's just going to be me again. So anyways, Brittany, you're officially co-host of the Herbalist Path. Says hello, and it did come out on audio. You did sing verbal hello. Love it. So yeah, here we are. It is January 27th, 2026, as we are recording this episode right now. And before we got on, we were chatting about some of the life happenings and the world happenings today. And I'm feeling a bit exhausted, a bit tired. I have expended a lot of energy and feelings around what is happening currently in the United States and around the world. And I see many, many people also expending this energy and these feelings. And as an herbalist, I'm like, okay, well, I know I need to turn to herbs, of course, to support me in my nervous system. I know I really need to step outside is the biggest thing for me. And, there's so many different directions that this conversation could go as we move forward. But I just wanted to kind of set the stage with where we are at right now in the time of the world right now. For me, I have deeply been feeling all of this energetic shift and change, both personally and within the world. I can sit in the doom and gloom kind of aspects of things, but I also can be quite the optimist and have this feeling that what is currently happening, so many people being so angry and enraged and sad and scared and all of these big, big, big emotions is just a part of what it's going to take to break down these broken ass systems and make change happen. But that's the optimist in me. The realist also knows that it isn't going to be easy. And so, yeah, I'm going
It's a
off.
thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. And it is a thing. And I'm going on a bit of a rampage. And it's really easy for me to say this and feel this and see all of this as a white woman, right? And there's so many white people out there that are very much feeling these feelings in big, big ways. Whereas here in the United States, this kind of thing has been happening since we began, from the natives being abused and murdered and raped and kicked off the land that they were tending all the way through to today. So it's a big, deep conversation.
I think it's important to recognize that this country was founded abominably. And so there has never been any kind of reconciliation for the abominations that have occurred. And in many cultures, there has to be some kind of atonement in order to move on. And atonement really hasn't been a thing. And I'm not just talking about Black Americans in the United States. Like you mentioned before, we're talking about Native Americans as well, who, have been here, and where the United States has not abided by one single treaty that any nation, any Native American nation that they entered into. They have not followed it. They broke every single one. So when you talk about coming from that kind of a background, it's not unbelievable at all to understand why we are here in this position, right? Why you have Black and brown people being snatched and kidnapped out of the streets that they are, their communities, right? Law-abiding citizens being kidnapped and killed, right? This is par for the course for this country. So it's, while, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, while many folks are feeling empowered and want to do things so their voices are heard, which is completely understandable. There's many of us who are unmotivated, who have a lack of enthusiasm, who feel, I wouldn't quite say apathetic, but I would, because that's also disinterest. Like there's interest there, but there is an exhaustion level that has just reached its pinnacle height because all the things that I just kind of talked about, and how it's challenging to regulate those emotions that you're feeling, right? Everything, like you were saying before, from rage and confusion and fear to this, here we are again type of sensation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine where the exhaustion piece is pretty big and just ancestrally. Like, when your people have been oppressed, abused, murdered, and all of that for the whole time.
Yeah, and fighting this fight, right? Yeah. And fighting this fight to just be able to exist and exist equally. And so, and that have a right to be here and a right to live without fear, and a right to be a part of and add to this country because we are a part of it. And again, I'm not speaking just for Black people. I'm speaking of the whole BIPOC community. So that's, for those who aren't familiar with the term, that's Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So I think it is a fight that we're very, very familiar with. And some folks are like, I'm just going to sit this one out and observe and see where this leads us. And there's some people who are like, peace out. Yeah. You've got the expat community that is increasing by leaps and bounds as well. So I think it is important to fight the good fight, but I also understand the feeling of exhaustion and anxiety and exhaustion that has come
Yeah.
to a lot of folks.
Yeah. Like just sitting here in the middle of this talk with you, I'm like, wow, we have such very different rooted perspectives, similar alignment, right? But like, again, I'm a European white woman in the United States. You are a Black woman, and I haven't had to deal with this ancestrally, right? Like it's I am that person that's like, hey, I am a rebel, damn it, and I want to make change happen, right? I want to come out and I want to do what I can to save the world while I feel all of these feelings of rage and upsetness, while also knowing that I can burn myself out quickly in doing that. And in order for me to be able to do what I feel I'm called here to do, I need to find a way to regulate that, a way to also support myself so that I can support others more deeply. Yeah. So how do we do that? Right? How do we,
Of course.
what's that?
Literally, of course. I mean, I do think it's a time where we need to emphasize the importance of Nervines. I think it's a time that we also need to emphasize the importance of adaptogens, right? Because there's a resilience to stress that is necessary in order to just exist is imperative to kind of manage all of these feelings. And I think that one of the things that would be beneficial is for people to understand some of those herbs in order to protect themselves and to have some kind of self-care, so that they can, if they're opting to go out and fight the good fight, that they will have more resilience to be able to do so, that they will have, a little bit better of a regulated nervous system in order to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where you start. You start with the foundations of health, which of course is your diet, and is of course with your exercise. Don't forget to your sleep. Those are things that are definitely foundational. And then building upon that, I think herbally, there's several layers of protection that you can incorporate into your life to then get to the next layer, which is, ironically, a fight or flight type of response that people are having, right? It's one or the other that we're kind of forced to decide what we're going to do with.
If you have been paying any kind of attention to the world today, you know that there are so many people out there that are struggling for one reason or another. And if you're listening to this podcast, or if you're like me, you likely have a lot of compassion and empathy and this strong desire to do whatever you can to help other people. And if that is you, I did put together a guide for you. It's called Medicine for the People, an herbalist guide to showing up for your community in times of need. And I give you plenty of ideas in ways that you can use your herbal skills to help people in your community and organizations to connect with that can help you along the path as well. So if you want that guide, you better believe it is linked down in the show notes, totally free, really just a way to inspire you to take your herbal skills and knowledge and step out to help people that need you here and now. So it's linked for you. Go ahead and grab it if you want it. Take care.
Yeah, that fight or flight, it's exactly what it is, right?
Fight, flight, or freeze, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see that happening like collectively as we're looking on social media, whatever channels you may be in, the conversation is there and it is loud, right? It's very loud right now, which it needs to be. So yeah. And let me just, before we start talking about herbs, for anybody who's out there that's like, oh, don't make this political, it is. That's all. I'm just going to leave that right there.
Yes.
Yeah, everything is. So I know that, yes, lifestyle, diet, making sure you're getting adequate amounts of sleep, making sure that you're getting enough exercise. For me, the deepest change maker every single time is stepping out in nature. And, you know, if you don't have the ability to go outside and walk in the woods or walk among a meadow or whatever it may be, you know, do you have plants that are near you? Do you have a plant in your home that you can just observe or connect with? That is really important for me. I know that's essential. And then, yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think I'm writing it down, but I don't need to because I'm going to say it right now. I think a lot of times it's challenging in the winter, and I'm not sure how many folks are not in the northern hemisphere, and you know, you're maybe have a summer vibe going on right now, and if you do, lucky you. Not a winter person, so it's very challenging. But also, so you said plants, obviously, and also access to sunlight, right? It is. There's much less, but winter solstice is past, so now the days are getting longer.
Yeah.
When it comes to the sun. And that is a constant for us right now. And so getting some sunlight, I think in addition to, I do think it is very fascinating to interact with plants, like you said. And it could be it doesn't have to be herbs, right? It could be as you're going out to your car to go to work, or you're walking to the bus station to go to work, or you're walking your kids to school, or God, if you're walking the kids to school now, I'm so sorry because it is cold out there. Maryland, this week is like the week from hell. It is like, okay, this is a sidebar. I'm going to say this can be edited out, need be. People say hell, like in general, the theoretical hell is like hot, right? To me, it's cold. It is cold as hell. That sounds like hell. So, you know, being able to walk and be out in the sunshine, no matter, you know, how much of it there is, the open air, and noticing and being aware of what's around you. If you're able to be in that moment, it is it's actually a form of meditation, right? Living in that moment of recognizing and being aware of, and saying it. You could say it out loud, like, damn, it's cold. Enough. It is right now. I believe it is. So I go by Celsius. So it's -3 degrees Celsius. So that is obviously below freezing. So you're talking about in the 20s, right? Fahrenheit. And but making that observation, right? And looking at the trees that have no leaves on them, and the bushes that are covered by the snow, and the tracks that you may see in the snow. You know, these are things that bring your awareness to what's going on right now. And it kind of interrupts a pattern of dysregulation and kind of grounds you a little bit. And that's one of those foundations that I didn't mention, but it is a foundational part of health, is just taking a moment to ground yourself, center yourself, get some sunlight, get some fresh air. That's one of those things that I think is integral. And it's good that you brought it up. Like going outside is a good part.
Yeah, it's imperative for me. Another thing that really helps me a lot is just breath. The breath. Taking a moment to just breathe. And obviously there's about 510 different breath work modalities and ways to do it, but it can be as simple as just like stop whatever you're doing and observe your breath. Close your eyes, observe your breath. Just take the time to do that for like 30 seconds. It's free. It's effective. It's very powerful. I love the like breathe in for the count of 4 and hold it at the top, and then to exhale out of my mouth for the count of 8. That's another favorite for me that really, really helps. Or when I'm exhaling, to let out an audible, hell yeah. Like when I let that audible out, I mean, you just saw me do it. My head just like
Yeah.
rolled all soft and my shoulders dropped down. And I'm just giving my nervous system a moment to be.
Yeah. The audible sigh is awesome.
Mm.
The releasing of your shoulders. And for me, a big one is unclenching my jaw, right? That's another big one that I don't realize that I'm sitting there with like the strength of steel going on with my jaw. And I'm like, oh, I've got this very clenched feeling, and being able to just unclench.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
very, very helpful.
We hold a lot of tension there, that's for sure. In the shoulders, in the face, all over. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think as we go through like this, again, I feel like we're in for a pretty wild ride moving forward. We can't say what's going to happen. We don't know, but we all have some intuition and some thoughts and feelings on it. And I think it's going to be pretty challenging. And I'm a big, big believer that we need an herbalist in every home. I'm a big, big believer that the more people that learn to use plants as medicine, the better off our entire planet will be. Because plants, they're living beings. And the more people connect with them, the more people recognize like these actually are here to heal us, the more we deepen our connection with nature, with our planet, which needs a whole heck of a lot of love. And so that's kind of been a driving force for me in this entire herbal journey that I've been on since the 90s, is to inspire more people to love the planet and therefore love herbs and kind of a big recycling symbol of the whole process there. And so yes, these tools we've just talked about are great ones to help us stay strong and resilient as we go through what can be very, very challenging times. And of course, we have herbs. And like Brittany was starting to talk about earlier, where she was mentioning nervines and adaptogen herbs. And I feel like now is a good time to talk about some of the nervines that could help people. When we talk about nervines, there's a couple of categories that you can think of. One, you have sedating nervines. So these are like sedating, heavily sedating. We're going to have things like valerian or even opium. Oh, those are very, very sedating. We also have more calm. What's that?
I said hops.
Yeah, hops.
Crappy, but it's effective.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't sleep, that'll help for sure. We also have more gentle nervines. I consider chamomile to be a gentle one. Some people may like really fall asleep easily with chamomile. We have nervine tropha restoratives, right? And these are going to be herbs that help to nourish and restore balance to the entire system and help that system to perform at optimal function. So we'll get into these here in just a moment. And then we have our nervine stimulants. I have one every day, at least 1 cup. And coffee is one of those. So like our caffeinated kinds of things are nervines. They're acting on the nervous system. They are stimulating, right? And then we have our whole category of adaptogens. If you're listening to this, I know you've heard about adaptogens before. I talk about them a lot. They're very popular out in the world because they help our bodies adapt to various kinds of stress, body, mind, spirit, soul, what have you. They are also going to be the ones that are going to give us the strength and resilience from the inside out to maintain throughout whatever challenging times are ahead of us. Brittany, did I do okay on those explanations?
Absolutely. And in the category of adaptogens, like that's a whole category with subcategories in and of itself, because you have your stimulating adaptogens as well. You have your modulating adaptogens. They're all modulants, I guess I should say, but ones that are not as stimulating. I wouldn't quite say sedative, but they're not as stimulating as something like rhodiola, which can be stimulating, or something like what's another stimulating? Oh, ginseng for sure, a stimulating adaptogen. And I love adaptogens, and what I love about them is I hate using this term as an herbalist that really likes science, and because I think I get misunderstood, but I love the magic of adaptogens. I love how scientifically they've proven to be very effective, but they're like, yeah, we don't quite know how this works. This, empathetic or this balancing of the, knowing when, if you're in a hyper situation too much, it's going to bring you down a little bit. If you're in a hypo, like where you have reduced capacity of something, it's going to be more, I don't want to say stimulating because I just said there may be some that are not stimulating, but it's going to bring you up to where you need to be. It's so balancing, but they're not sure how it works. And I love that magic that just which to me, magic is just science that hasn't been explained yet. They just don't have the data to back it up. But that is what is so fascinating to me about adaptogens. And so I really love working with them, which, I'm working with my favorite one right here. This is Tulsi that I grew in my garden, which I consider a mild, like Tulsi's my best friend. I cannot talk about it enough.
Also sipping on Tulsi.
Yeah. And I just saw you taking a tincture. I have the tincture right here.
My tincture is ashwagandha.
And then my other one is, you can't see it, and I think you were talking about it, what you might have had in your mind when you were talking about trophic restoratives. Milky oats.
I love that I'm like reading your mind in the moment. Yeah. Okay. You and I are well stocked, obviously. Yeah, we live, breathe, and are this herbal world. I know mine's over there, and out there. I have multiple large apothecary shelf spaces, but I just break it down. Let's start with let's start with some Nervines, because from my perspective, like if I'm working with somebody, they come to me, I know we're going to really create some type of long-term plan for that individual. But nobody comes to you and says, hey, herbalist, can you help me and make sure I feel better in 3 months?
Yeah.
I mean, it's our job to explain to them that it's a long-term game, but they want something now. And I would imagine that there's a lot of us out there, myself included, that are like, how can I feel better now? How can I find a sense of calm now?
Do you want me to get specific?
Yeah, bring it.
Ted, I think right now two often used are skullcap and passion flower. I like passion flower more, but only because it is rampant in my yard. It is choking out everything. It is killing the tomatoes that I grow over the summer. Those little lovely curly cues on passion flower, which kind of follows a little bit of the doctrine of signatures, right? Where it's like good for the circular thoughts, and those little curly cue vines.
Tendrils.
Yeah, tendrils. Those suckers just latch on to everything and and it's cute at first. You think, oh, the first time passion flower spontaneously popped up in my garden, I was like, as the herbalist in me totally geeked out. I was like, oh my God, Lamont, that's my husband. This is passion flower. This is awesome. Don't touch it. That's a huge mistake. I found huge mistake. And now it's literally everywhere. I would in the summer, I'd probably pull out 6 or 7 shoots of passion flower a day. That is a gracious herb. Like, my God. But it is super effective. And I like working with it for just you just can't shut the brain off for a second. Just give me a minute of peace. And passion flower, I think, is really effective. And skullcap, both of those are, I believe, in my work that I've done with clients and the blends that I make, both of those tend to be really effective, especially for more acute situations rather than adaptogens, which is more of a chronic situation.
Yeah, I love those two as well. For me, they're pretty darn sedating. So those are herbs that I turn to when it's time to go to bed, and they help me. I'm 47. I'm at that typical age where 3 a.m. and everybody's up on threads right now going, who else is up? 5+ awake right now. And yeah, it really helps with those racing thoughts in the middle of the night when we've got so much going on and you just cannot stay in that solid state of sleep. That's how it helps for me. And yes, I could see where that's really important for some people that are in that incredibly stressed and burnt out state. An herb that's really helpful for me in times like these, that I can also go throughout my day and be like, cool, I'm able to function, I'm able to do the things. Linden is my magic. It's like, I love Tilia, and I love it also because it's so beneficial for cardiovascular health as well. But for me, like, I can say, I've said this before on this podcast, and my students definitely know it, but linden is this plant. I'm saying its name right now, and I see this big, beautiful tree, and I see its big branches embracing me and holding me and hugging me and squeezing all the stress away as it's like whispering to me with its soft little demulcent lovely flowers and saying, it's okay, Mel, whatever you're going through right now is going to be okay. And so, like, tomorrow, one of the women in my community is holding a gathering to stay in community and support one another. And it's a potluck, but I have a basketball game to coach, but I'm going to just drop off a couple of pots of linden tea for the party, just to give some big herbal hugs to people.
Some linden love. One of the things I like about linden, well, short story, there's a tree, a neighbor of mine has a linden tree in their yard. And as I'm walking and I see it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so the weird person in the neighborhood, I'm like, hey, can I
I like your flowers.
And I get these huge, I mean, he was like, yeah, please go for it. And then asked, what do you use it for? Which was a great opportunity for me to geek out. But what I love about linden is that it's cooling, right? And a lot of nervines tend to be drying. And so linden oftentimes brings a nice balance to it when you're talking about, really trying to balance formulas that you're making. And so to me, linden works really well for that. Like it's not only supportive when it comes to your nerves, right? But it also helps to bring a little bit of a cooling feeling to your body.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my first time nibbling on a fresh linden flower after I had just taken it from the cute little bees bumbling all around it, and just feeling the demulcent qualities in that flower on my tongue. Like, it was really lovely. Very moistening, very cooling, very, very lovely. So I love that you bring that up as an ability to balance out a form.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's chamomile in there. You know, that's the one that's always thrown out, and valid. What a great herb. What an incredibly underrated herb. Definitely going to help in times when our nervous system is fried, among so many other ways that chamomile can help a being.
Yeah, I always use chamomile as an example, as like an herb that people say is overhyped, and I'm like, yeah, people talk about it a lot, but there's a reason. Like it's such a great herb to work with, for so many different reasons. I love the antispasmodic qualities of chamomile. So, when you've got that tension, the muscle tension and the stress and kind of like things going on, muscle wise, especially in your neck, chamomile can be great, or your stomach, really more so your stomach. I don't know why I said neck, because that too, but your stomach, that peristalsis that happens when in your stomach, when your stomach is like, no, I don't think so. I'm not having this, and I'm gonna let you know. Chamomile's a great turn to.
Absolutely. And it's so, like, the connection there. There's always the stories I love to share of my daughter and her connection with chamomile, and in the earlier years, how she would just pick out the chamomile flowers from my cups of tea and eat them like they were chamomile candy. And then she just kind of became prone to anxious feelings. She's a big, 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 big feeler. And chamomile has just always been the herb for her, to the point that now I can just tell her I'm making a cup of tea, and she, like, I feel with the linden tree hugging me, she's like, okay, I'm better. No, even without the tea. So I think that is magic.
Yeah, it's got great aroma too. Like that
Mm,
smell, just I'm like,
yeah. Please put my nose in a jar of chamomile all day, every day. Sounds great. Okay. So, yes, linden, skullcap, passion flower, chamomile. Obviously, there are so many other great plants we can work with. Like you were speaking about winter and not liking winter, um, not liking the lack of sunshine. That makes me think a lot about lemon balm and its antidepressive properties and its ability to kind of uplift the spirits, also known as nature's sunshine. I think that's a really appropriate one right now. Actually, in my tea right now is Tulsi, lemon balm, and rosemary.
rosemary. I thought you were going to say rose, which I find to be another good one. But rosemary, that's great because
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a lot more hours left in my day. I need that rosemary. But yeah, rose is on my mind as well. And what another lovely one. Do you want to chat or share a few little ditties on rose?
I love rose for so many reasons. So when I formulate, I use it as like the spark, the little burst of floral flavor, but it adds so much for the like emotional and physical heart, like the relaxing, mm, calming, just it's just beautiful to work with. And I like working with it because you can work with it on so many levels, right? So you can work with the herb in a tea. It's a beautiful smokable herb. It is a beautiful makes a great oil, like an infused oil. We won't get into the essential oil because you just might as well mortgage your house up because that's just
Yeah.
no. You can go for an absolute, so that's a little bit more manageable, but it's just such a beautiful herb to work with. And I've but on the other hand, a little dab will do you. Like you don't need to go crazy with it because it does have a strong floral fragrance and flavor to it. So you don't need a lot, but what's magical about it is that you don't need a lot for it to be effective. And so that's one of the reasons why I like using rose so much. I use it on a lot of formulas that I make.
Yeah, I feel like rose, it usually calls to me when we're dealing with grief or just heartache, right? And along with rose, another pairing I love to bring in also in the rose family is hawthorn. And both of them have their thorns to protect and maintain some boundaries, right? I think about hawthorn and opening the heart to giving and receiving of love and supporting people when they are grieving, when they are going through hard times.
Thanks for that.
Mhm. And I think a lot of people right now are feeling various levels of grief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So those can be super helpful. Like right there, we just gave you
Yeah, so many.
those herbs. That's a lot of them. Not all of them are going to be the one for you, you know. That's always an important thing to remember. But let's talk about so those are our herbs that are going to help right now. And let's chat about some of the herbs that also help right now, but build that strength and resilience necessary for the long haul.
Yeah,
Because I have a feeling we're in for a long fight here.
absolutely.
And those are our adaptogenic herbs, right? Again, like I mentioned already, those are herbs that are there to help us adapt to life's various stressors, which there are so many. Mentally, physically, spiritually, in all of the ways. And one of my greatest go-tos for me, other than Tulsi, I also put Tulsi in the nervine category, very much so. But ashwagandha is a bestie for me. When I ran my product line and I was just so busy all the time because I thought I had to do all of it, and other people couldn't do it for me, I was burnt out and I would abuse ashwagandha, quite frankly, in relying on it to help me have that resilience and strength. And it did. It did it really well to the point that I would take my ashwagandha on a regular basis. But if I forgot to take my ashwagandha for a week or two, Those were the times when I was like, I can't take. And then I'd be like, where's my ashwagandha? And I would take like a little squirt of the tincture and I'd be like, oh, my friend, I love you. I love you. Thank you for having my back and giving me some stability and foundation. And this is really minimizing the power of ashwagandha in this talk, but this is how it really was for me. Still is to this day. It is also an herb that you want to take for a longer duration, right? Most of our adaptogens are that way. They are not a quick kind of grab me thing. I think I've developed that relationship with ashwagandha though, where I can, like I was talking about linden, I can talk about it, I can touch it, I can taste it, and I can be like, oh yeah, I am supported.
Yeah.
I am supported.
That sensory, feeling is important there too. I find, definitely adaptogens are not, it's not for an acute situation. This is for resiliency. This is for recovery. This is for, like you said, the long haul. A lot of times with the many different adaptogens, you're talking about 4 to 6 weeks before you start to notice, wow, okay, hold on. I do start to see something, I am starting to see some differences in how I'm managing this stress level. And I like to think about adaptogens as a support that is not, you can, there's different, categories like we were talking about earlier in terms of those that are recommended that you could like Tulsi, where you can, drink it every day for the rest of your life and you'll be, happy and, good to go. And then there's others where kind of an on and off type of dosage, if you will, is best, or on and off. What's the word I'm looking for?
You take it for 3 months? You don't.
There's a specific word I forgot when
I think it's also on the tip of my tongue and not coming out. So, yeah. But that's the layman's terms of it.
Yeah, that's the point. You get what I mean. You get what I think.
Absolutely.
I think my favorite after Tulsi would be, well, right now I've got Schisandra and goji berry that I'm it's like I have little goji berries in my tea right now.
So many flavors.
I know. So the goji berry isn't much because I have it in here until I drink it. So it has a very underlying taste. But the Schisandra, for those who aren't familiar with Schisandra, it's also known as like the 5-spice berry. I love using Schisandra because it is such an incredibly pungent, like berry. Like it really does have those 5 flavors. It is really tart. It is sour. It is bitter. It is all of these things all at once. It's everything everywhere all at once. It is really kind of is amazing. So I really like working with Schisandra.
Yeah, among all of its amazing benefits, the flavors are also a wild ride. I love that. I think reishi during this time as well. The what is it? Lingji, the mushroom of life, the immortal mushroom. It used to be known as, but a very, very beneficial adaptogen. I will say there's a lot of crappy mushroom products out on the market, so be mindful of where you are sourcing your mushroom products from. It's a whole other podcast episode to talk about.
Yeah, right. Sourcing is important.
Mm-hmm.
And with your quality over quantity is definitely, a rule to live by when it comes with your herbs.
All day, every day. I actually, before this call with Brittany, I was on a call with the Sustainable Herbs Initiative, and it was quite a delight to be on that call. It's run by this woman named Anne Ambrecht, and I hope I said her last name right. It's spelled kind of challenging to pronounce, but Anne's amazing. She has been doing the work to ensure that supply chain transparency is there throughout the herbal industry. And when I ran Mountain Mel's and I had my apothecary, and even before I had my apothecary, she had this beautiful film that she and her husband put together called Newman, and it was all about, you know, the plants and sustainability and making sure that these plants are here for future generations. And anyways, I used to show her film in my apothecary, like back in 2010. Well, in the library in 2010, later in my apothecary. And anyways, a side note, totally not relevant to the topic, aside from make
Relevant.
sure you're sourcing your herbs from reputable companies that give a damn about the plants and the planet and the people. That's all. That's a horse I will ride on for the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
I want these herbs to be here for, if I am fortunate enough to have grandbabies, I want them there for the grandbabies and forever. You know, we need to be more mindful as the herbal world continues to boom and boost in such exponential ways. Yeah.
What else?
Well, you know, I think the herbs that we just talked about, most of them are going to be pretty darn safe and beneficial for your average person bringing herbal medicine into their home, which is really, really important. And I think we might have some people on here who really are feeling this call and this desire to support their communities in a deeper way, in a way that goes beyond the surface level herbalism. And when I say surface level herbalism, I'm talking about the information that's out on social media. I'm talking about the fix all. Oh, valerian is the sleep herb. So there you go. You can't sleep. I'm giving everybody valerian.
Yeah.
Valerian.
And it can be stimulating for some. Like
Exactly. Right. And you know, there's the people that do want to support and want to help, and they want to work with plants, and they want to make this change and this shift. And you know, how do we, because you and I are those people, right? We have been those people for so long, and we are very much human. So how do we also go into this work balancing the need to support ourselves while we simultaneously want to support those in our community?
Yeah. So like the practice what you preach type of situation. And
Ooh.
that's a thing. I think it's really easy. You know, you mentioned burnout earlier when we started. And I think that it's really easy as those who are out here in the community doing the things to not realize that our own self-care is a priority. And so that's a thing.
It is. It's a big thing. And so basically do everything we just said as you also help guide other people do those things.
Yeah. Taking the time to question, like, where am I right now? How am I feeling? Am I like, I think for me, I hate when people say for me personally, but for me personally, when I don't realize when I'm in the thick of things, I don't realize that I'm overwhelmed. And so being able to take some time for some self-reflection is necessary for me, because if I don't, I'll just keep going and not understand, like, God, why am I so tired? Why is my skin breaking out? Why do I feel like crap? Gosh, I don't like ding, ding, ding. Honestly, the bells do not ring. It could be, I could see it in somebody else and I could be like, oh, well, this, and this, and this, and this, and this will be helpful. And, you know, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And for me, though, don't see it at all. Not a clue. And so I have to have some time for self-reflection and be like, oh, you feel tightness all over my body. Oh, I have been waking up with headaches every morning. You know, those kinds of things, in order for me to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. Otherwise, it ain't good.
Yeah, I see that, feel that, have lived that numerous times, because I remember being a child thinking I was invincible, like literally, like I'm invincible. Not just like, you know, the crazy kid that's going to go out and do all things, but not consciously thinking they're invincible. Turns out I'm not. I've discovered things. Cold. Wow, shocker. Spoiler alert. But yes, that time for self-reflection. It's funny that you mentioned that as you were talking about how, when you're in the middle of it and you don't recognize that you're overwhelmed. And it brings me to 2 times recently, like within the last month of my life. One, when we were experiencing some pretty intense flooding in my backyard. I live on this beautiful mountain river, and like I am fascinated by Mother Nature and weather patterns and all these cool things. And we had no power for a few days. And so like my little neighborhood was totally dark, and this wild mountain river decided to jump up over the bank and was running directly through. Like I have my backyard is elevated up from the river, and then there's like a little wooded area that you have to go through before you get to what is normally the river. And we have like a mini little pond at the bottom of the of the backyard that is not a pond at all in the summertime, right?
Yeah.
It's a water space of sorts. Anyways, said water space became an actual rushing river through my entire neighborhood. And like Chris and I are out, it is just crapping rain on our heads, and we've got all our rain gear on, and we're still soaked, and we're outside with flashlights because there's no power in our entire neighborhood. And we are walking around checking out all this flooding, like, wow, this is so cool. Like, this is amazing. Taking videos, like, wow. And like the next day and the day after, it's like, oh my God. I'm exhausted. It was also like right in prime time for holiday celebrations, like the next day, and I had to go down to visit my family. And so there's that addition on it all. And I like remember reflecting back to Chris, like, wow, that was really cool to see and experience. And I am now exhausted because of all the energy that gets spent there, like in the moment. Wow, this is so cool. Oh, wait. I am overwhelmed. Yeah. And then I could also relate that to this weekend, like Saturday morning when I woke up and saw the videos of Alex's death and murder, and I spiraled in that for a while. And eventually I made myself go outside where I could find some peace and some sanity. But spiraling in those kinds of scenarios and situations, like it's a fine balance between awareness of what is happening and the ability to maintain your sanity.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think that for me is oftentimes a struggle. And when I take the time to reflect on that, like, okay, you see what is happening right now in the world. You also see what is happening with you. And you are a being. I am a being who really does have a lot of passion for making a difference in this world and helping people on a greater scale. But if I'm not taking those times to reflect, to get outside, to bring on the herbs that are going to help me best, then I am of no damn good for anyone else. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, no, it's imperative, that we take that moment. Otherwise, it's, it is akin to the exhausted example of the airplane air mask.
Yes.
That you, like, put on yours before you, try and save your baby. And it's like, duh, I'm going to save my baby first, and then you die. That was awful. That was morbid. It's an example of thanks for coming to the everybody.
Oh, truth though. There is so much truth in that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And you know what? I think here's another good part. For those like myself that don't realize that that I'm running on empty, and I'm just puttering away, thinking everything is hunky dory, is to have somebody that will be like, hey, your tank light is on, and it's been on for a good minute. I think you need to take a moment. That's really important too, because otherwise, again, it ain't good. So, having a good friend, partner that recognizes those signs in you, and you may have to tell them, Like, some other folks are just as clueless. They think you are just fine. And so you may need to say, hey, this is what I believe it looks like when I am spiraling. So rein me back in before I start to just, before I melt into the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you say that because my partner and I have been together almost 16 years. And just recently, in like the last couple of weeks, maybe since flood time, he has actually been using the words of like, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. Like right now, I work a part-time job for an herb company. I run the Herbalist path and I coach middle school girls basketball 5 days a week.
You are barely doing anything. I'm like,
I'm bored.
it's one way to put it.
But recently, like, I'm like, oh, well, I need to paint the doors for my office and rearrange my office, and I need to do this and do that, and blah, blah, blah. And I have recently heard him say, no, you shouldn't do that. You should just like go outside so you don't get burnt out.
Yeah.
And this has come up multiple times in the past month or so. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just stated this to him last week. I was like, hey, thanks for recognizing that, like, I need to take care of myself to not get burnt out, and for stating that to me, like, hey, just like you said, like, hey, here's your warning flag. I see you.
Yeah.
Do that.
And good for you to actually listen. Yeah. Because I have been also that person who's like, I'm fine. I'm great. I don't need to take a break right now. I'm fine. I'm just going to power through this.
Also stubborn.
Yeah. Not going to be.
Yeah.
And I have learned in my wizened age that, listen to folks. They may have something going on up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially a partner, because mine, again, it's a ridiculous amount of time that we've been together. It's been almost 30 years. So yeah, he knows me. He knows me. So he knows
probably better than you do.
Probably.
I love that. And for some reason, like his name, Lamont, it just makes me happy. Every time I hear you say his name, I'm like, oh, I bet he's just adorable.
Oh, he's adorable. All right. It's so funny because we say so there's two, I'm going to keep this short, I promise. And of course you can cut it out. There's two things that we, fight over. Number one, he thinks because he took a year in French in high school that like he has the I don't know, whatever on anything that sounds French, including his name, Lamont. It's like Lamont. I'm like, okay. And he'll be like, and croissant. He is one of those people that has to say croissant. Like, okay, just stop. There's that. And the fact that he thinks he's Southern when he is not. Born in Washington, D.C., he is not Southern. I mean, yes, it is considered a little bit more Southern, but you're not Southern, honey. It's okay. I was born in North Carolina. I'm Southern.
I still love you.
Jack, hate you, buddy.
Anyway,
that was a total tangent.
And a funny one. Speaking of tangents and funny people and learning about herbs and guides and people that have been there. For those of you that do not know, Brittany and I are co-educators in a community herbalist mentorship and certification program. While the certification comes from us, there is no like overall certifying board here in the United States, but we are you do a lot of the work that is going to equip you to be successful in serving your community in the future, serving your family, and understanding herbal medicine beyond the surface level stuff, right? Understanding how to work with different body systems and structures and how to pair an herb with a particular situation or formulate on a deeper level for an individual that may need it. So we do that together.
I was going to say, keeping in mind things like energetics and in the synergy of herbs and how they work together, which is, not as intuitive as one may think. A lot of times it can be, but usually that intuitiveness comes from experience and with the herbs and working with people. And so that's what we bring to this is that experience. So
absolutely. Like, obviously, I'm a huge proponent of books and knowledge and education. And while we give you loads of knowledge and education in the program, understanding the systems, understanding different disease states and how to figure out how to work with those with various situations that may have caused said disease states, what I think is most important is the ability to have somebody with experience that you can come to and say, hey, this happened. What can I do right now? And we won't necessarily be like, do this right now. My approach is more like, let me challenge you to think of this in another angle so that you can come up with this answer on your own because you have all the information.
Get ready to get, I won't say frustrated because it's not frustrating, but you know how some folks answer a question with a question? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to question your question.
Challenge you to think. Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, we have that for you. If you are feeling that call to serve your community on a deeper level, to deepen your herbal skills and your confidence with herbal medicine, because I think, at least for me in the beginning, when I first started learning about herbs, it was super duper exciting. And I was like, yeah, all the herbs and all the things. And then I would learn more and be like, oh, this is deeper than what I think, that's what we help you through is that deeper part. Absolutely. Anyways, any other parting words of wisdom on this heavy episode?
Yeah, it was a happy episode. Yeah. Laugh more.
I love laughing.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's underrated, right? Like laughing is really fun and good and trying, unfortunately I can't recommend, well, there are some herbs that can help you laugh more, but that's a different podcast. So on that note,
Next episode with Brittany and Mel. Laughable herbs and such.
absolutely. Oh, I can have one going that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited to bring you on for more episodes. It makes it so much more fun for me to talk about herbs with another friend and share the wonders of plant medicine. So, yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And listeners, thank you too. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Herbalist Path. If you're loving this journey into herbal medicine, please follow and review the show. It helps more people find their own path with the plants. And if you know someone who could use this kind of support, please share this episode with them. So that way we can keep making herbalism spread like wildflowers. Also, a gentle reminder, nothing shared on this podcast is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. This is all for educational purposes and, yeah, a little entertainment too. But it is not a substitute for personalized care from a qualified health practitioner. Always do your own research, listen to your body, and when needed, partner with a trusted professional who honors both your intuition and your unique health journey. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep walking the herbalist path. If you look around the world today, it's really, really clear that people are returning to the world of herbalism and plant medicine at a super rapid pace, and it's absolutely incredible. It's really, really great to see. And a lot of those people are practicing more of what I refer to as a surface level kind of herbalism. They're not understanding how body systems work and how to match herbs with symptoms and systems and structures based on energetics and constitution and things along those lines. And so as we have more of these home herbalists, heck yes, we need to celebrate. And we also need more knowledgeable, skilled herbalists that really understand the ability of the body to heal itself from the inside out, from the root. And if you are one of those people who, yeah, you've been playing with herbs for a while and you've seen them work and they're absolutely amazing, the more that you do it, the more you recognize that there is so much more to learn about plant medicine.
I get it. And I want to invite you to consider the Community Herbalist certification and mentorship. So, this is technically a year-long program where we go through all of the body systems and structures and learn different herbs that you can use to work with them and different protocols that you might want to consider for deeper disease states and chronic ailments and things like that. But not only are you getting all of this information, you're also getting myself and Brittany Williams of Eudaimonia Herbs alongside you as your mentors and your guides. We are there to answer your questions, to challenge you to think in a deeper way than you might when you're just doing the surface level herbalism, and to really help you feel confident in your herbal skills and knowledge. So when everybody in your community is asking you for help, you can go to them with solid information and advice and wisdom to share with them. Anyways, the Community Herbalist certification and mentorship is definitely the place to be if you are ready to take your herbal skills to the next level. And if you would like to learn more about that, I will go ahead and drop a link in the show notes down below, and would love to have a chat with you to make sure that this program is the right fit for you. All right, take care.